The locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Talk your shit, Phoenix. All right. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. We're here with some more Ace Attorney, Phoenix Wright. We're in episode 3 still. Episode 5 still. We're in the middle of a trial right now. We're about to move into the second, I'm guessing, the second part of the trial. If I remember correctly, that one police dude, his story ended up not being like all the way straight. Turns out the detective that got killed actually wasn't at the evidence room. So we're gonna find out more where he was at. So without further ado, man, let's just hop into it. February 24th, 12:14 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 9. Ooh, okay. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. That's not what I meant to click. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. All right, let's get some answers. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner. Oh, I'm just a man. Same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. Right. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. What? I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Okay. Oh, damn. You gonna let him talk to you like that, Judge? Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras in the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint activated locks? What kind of newfangled donkey hickeys are those? Donkey. He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. All right, well, let's press, Make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. That's not what I meant to do. Actually, yeah, let me look at the evidence first. Okay, so files for the Joe Dart killing solved 2 years ago. Incident number SL9 closed. Perpetrator Joe Dart. Crime: serial murder. Sentence: death. Damn. Victims: Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel Moss, Jeb Bates, Neil Marshall. Oh, gee. Oh, got 6 bodies. Head prosecutor Miles Edgeworth. Witnesses Lana Skye and Emma Skye. Investigation Task Force. Executive investigators Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Damn, she was a witness and an investigator? Head investigator Bruce Goodman. Investigators Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. Oh. This nigga caught 6 bodies. Anyway, so let me start pressing. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No, Desperado. I know let's rules gets in the no Desperado I know let's rules get in the way. No Desperados I know joined the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in that victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. Well, that's a lie. How does this guy avoid being fired? Besides, the security room is affected by security systems anyway. What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel's steak lunches can beat that parlor's Vongolis Sepias pasta. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says, did you not want to raise this year? Rooms protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. Out of ammo, Officer Marshall. That's right, partner. Or as you'd call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you'd better draw. Okay, all right. You asked for it. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take order from anyone. Everyone knows that. Apparently, superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I'd best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I'd better up the ante. Wait, what? Up the ante? Well, I mean, I've only got one thing I can really press him on. He said before I use it, I better up the ante. Let me just press him. Let me just press him on this last point since he said that, because I don't know what he means by that. Make him explain it. You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a goldmine of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism? Sorry, partner. I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Even time dies there. I was just a caretaker who entered the recordings. You entered them? Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I'd erase the tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. Okay, well, now it's time to present it. This ain't it. I don't know what is. Objection! Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this. After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet, you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. Objection! I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? The blood was wiped away. However, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall. About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well. You may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something. I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. Murderer is wearing gloves. Look at this. Said the murderer was wearing gloves. Extremely thin rubber glove. Extremely thin. I don't know. He said a lot, though. I feel like he said a lot. I don't know though. Let me look into it. It's only natural for my fingerprints to be in the evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. That's awfully convenient. So then, what about the bloody handprint? Was it mine? It's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened the murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. You don't expect me to believe it. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other's a type of murder. He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. How do you know that? How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer, wearing gloves, happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprints. That's the only logical conclusion. Can't let him squirm out on this one. Gotta find something. Something decisive to tie Officer Marshall to this crime. That's because you, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month. Yeah, that's right. And one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently, his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. Oh, okay, here we go. Found on a bloody handprint on Marshall's own locker. The print had been wiped. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? The seal of blood in the desert. It's just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. There's another tape? Security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, Continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? So do I send the video or do I put the prints? I think it's the. Okay. My guess is I'm gonna present the video, and then they're gonna ask me. Well, let me press them. I think I'm gonna press them first. What do you mean by that? You'll want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have.
Objection!
But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. Now, there is one thing. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape.
Objection!
We don't have the time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, you can show us evidence in this video that indicates I can indeed. Officer Marshall was present. Please do so now. I will show you that evidence, motherfucker. Yeah. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Hey, Edward, eat a dick, all right? Now then, let's look at the video. Show us the incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall. I got it. In fact, we don't even gotta waste time. Let's fast forward. Let's fast forward. I'm already knowing what it is. I seen it it was the first thing I seen. Not even waste time. You done fucked up, Aaron. You done fucked up.
Take that!
Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. Yup. That locker with the white claw sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh, the white cloth. It's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then, it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order! It seemed that's the... Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. That's impossible. The murderer needed something to hide. The murderer needed to hide something. So he opened the locker and stuck it in. You know that's not possible. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. That's not possible, sir. Come on, you know that. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say I opened that locker. Now prove it. Oh, I got you. Make sure. Locker evidence. Only the assigned detective's prints can unlock it. Here we go.
Take that!
Fingerprint sensor. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Talk your shit, Phoenix! Oh, that's hard. Look at him. I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! Order, order, order! Witness, explain yourself. If this is the joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Olay, please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? That's all right, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can. We can. Have a look at these floor plans. There is no place for someone to hide evidence in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright hasn't answered. Who are we calling? This is the witness? That's right, the only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? Oh, it's easy. He was right here. He was right here. Officer Marshall was standing right here. There? But that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was standing. Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman.
Objection!
But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure.
Objection!
May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond?
He suddenly pulled a knife on me!
I'm having too much fun doing this. Something about the officer's Let me. It's not even that funny. Let me collect myself. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized that the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? Well, you've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Ah, this can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? Edward, you got something for me? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? What does that mean? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside of the box. Okay, outside the box. I got you, baby. Shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later, as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's arguments, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that. He opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. Why did he have to open his locker? Did he have to see the blood? I have no idea why he would have to open his locker. He walks in. Would it be the knife? It's the knife, isn't it? I'm gonna assume it was the knife. If I remember correctly, the police chief found it here. Actually, hold on, let me pause real quick. Let me look at the court record. It has to be the knife. Wrapped in the defendant's muffler. But it's a white cloth. Small tag attached. I don't know. The only thing I can think of is the knife, though. That's what I would point to. He didn't want to be seen walking out with a knife. With a bloody knife, no less. That's my guess. That's what I'm going to go with for now. Because I don't know. Sliced him with a knife. Then he got out of the way of the camera, knocked him out. Couldn't stuff the knife back in there. Stuffed it in his own locker. He must have been in a rush. That's my guess. My guess is the knife is in there. The cloth is white. That's the only thing that's confusing me. Rewind. I'm assuming this is it. Well, what do you have to say to that? Oh. All right, partner. You really want to know the reason I had to open my locker? Why? So I could stuff you in there. Huh? I'm sure the world would be a better place with you sent off to the boneyard. Unfortunately, unsolved cases can't be stored in the evidence room. Now I'm an unsolved case? What went wrong? Did he wipe the blood off his shoulders? Let me try the... I can only assume that he wiped the blood off his shoulders. Yeah, because if he was seen walking out with blood on his shoulders, that's my only guess, is the blood on his shoulder. Maybe it has to do with the blood on his shoulder. I'm gonna try that. Oh no, not that. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know why I overlooked it for some reason. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Okay, whoa, that one took a little bit of brain power for a second. It makes sense. I was like, I don't know why I didn't think that he'd wipe off that he'd try to wipe off the blood. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now. Now would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. All right. It seems the time has come. Marshall's confession. Here we go. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. The traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. I'm gonna press him on every point though. When you say it, you mean, do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since then. That case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When the case is closed, only the case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why I plan to take out the evidence. Hold up. Wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What? Are you blind? The victims shown on the tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty? Someone else stole the evidence. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I'd better take another look at the files. Okay. No, not okay. Take a look at the files. Joe Dart, Edward Jones, Edith Kirby, Jeb Bates, and other victims. Miles Edgeworth, Lana Skye, and Emma Skye. Executive investigators Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Head investigator Bruce Goodman, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. Okay, I've looked at it. But I don't know. Let me press this. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person, mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his race this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and... So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in the struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is on that day, not sure what to press him on. case files. Okay. Let me press them on more. Let me press them on this last point, and then I'm gonna. I don't know what I would throw the case files at though.
Hold it!
Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card. I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out the lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker by yourself. Wait a minute. But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck to the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID? Injuring a police officer? This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why? Tell me. But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crime. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I'd better take another look at the files. Saying I should look at the files. What exactly? I guess I'm gonna present it, but let me look at it one more time. Sentenced to death. These are all the victims. It's Goodman. All right, well, I'll present it, but I don't know. Well, shit, I don't know. I already pressed him on it. All I can do is present it.
Objection!
Yep. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. What? I didn't read that. Oh, what? Oh, what? Is that one of the victims? Neil Marshall. Oh my God. Is there a star in here too? No. Whoa. I didn't even read that. The name Marshall. Yeah. Damn. In a list of murder victims, Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall? Yeah. I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, then deputy chief police. The then deputy chief of police. Yeah, Gant is way too much into this. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Oh, Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed, at least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? So Damon Gant, Gant is, who is this? Damon Gant is the supervillain. He's the mastermind behind all this. There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case would be reported. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze me. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's got to be more than just that. So, if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye.
Objection!
But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial.
Objection!
Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Starr is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Ah! All rests my case. Damn. It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape was really fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. The court finds this defendant. Hold it! Oh yeah! Your Honor, wait! Emma? The defense has an objection. A scientific objection! Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright. Are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking for is a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. Damn. Well, that's nice of him. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dart killings. Was there a Sky that was murdered too? I did not read that case close enough. I'm kind of pissed I missed that. Okay, there's no Sky. They're both witnesses though. What did she see? I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dart killings. Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky sisters are in that file. But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprints had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So, I ran over there and looked at it again. So, did you find something? No. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? Well, yeah. It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be... Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Man, you pick and choose when you want to start rushing people. Bitch-ass nigga. Yes, Your Honor. If ever I've needed to concentrate, it's now. That is an out-of-place blood mark. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? Well, I'm gonna object, but I don't know.
Objection!
This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that when drawn will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. There was another, oh no, that's Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. I am. I don't know what Phoenix is seeing. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all this evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans? Oh, the vase, right? No. Which item can prove something is missing in the floor plan? Yeah, it's the vase. It's the vase. Let me look at the floor plans. Let me look at the floor plans real quick. Let me look at the floor plans. Yeah, the vase isn't on here. Neither is the glove either, though. But I'm gonna click on the vase and pray to God. You know what I mean? At this point, it's in God's hands. Let's go. As they say back west, even a blind man can hit with a buckshot. That is, so long as he's facing the general. Okay, that means I got it wrong. Is missing. What is missing from the floor plans? Why did someone touch? I can't understand this. Why did someone even touch Gumshoe's locker? I'm really having to use my noggin. I don't see either. Okay, maybe it's on the floor. The vase, neither the vase nor the glove. I see the glove. I thought it was the vase, not the vase. Oh, wait a minute. Are they talking about? Wait. It has to be the fucking mascot, no? What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force, defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Right in front of, yeah. Well, what? That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. What? Oh, that is a good catch. So that means, just exactly what does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me. I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. Emma, on that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in. Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. Man, all the bullshit witnesses you've let speak in this fucking courtroom, you gonna let this one slide, bitch ass nigga. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time. And we can't see the floor, so they can't say it's not there. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered.
Objection!
That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim.
Objection!
The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker.
Objection!
So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarize the defense's claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room? That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well. Then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place? It had to have taken place. I think it's the time logs. Let me look at it. It had to have taken place at 4:20. It had to have taken place at 4:20. The thing is, Edgeworth came in at 4:40 though. So it can it be that? So there's only two pieces of evidence I can use. Oh, shit. So do I use a screwdriver? I'm gonna use the time log. I'm gonna use the ID record log. Let's see. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card? Oh, the ID card record. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. Oh, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Miles Edgeworth, just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. Someone entered at 4:20 though. There's only one other card number remaining. 777777, I think. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, that means it got erased, right? He must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only thing that makes sense, yeah. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 777777. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 777777. That's 17 too many, Your Honor. There's no way he was actually counting that shit. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least, at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 777777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
Objection!
But that's ridiculous. Just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge is filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates.
Objection!
I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes. No, not you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana?
Objection!
Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course, we've looked up her ID number, and it's not 777-7777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing, about that incident. The SL9 incident. Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Lana, I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't! I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence. Ooh. Whoa. Yo, this trial runs deep. See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Order! 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 Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom would have to wait until the following day. Whoa! Yeah! What a crazy ending! Oh my God. Yo, clap that up. That was fire. Oh, that was tough. Wow. Oh my goodness. Holy shit, man. That was fucking crazy. Yo, this was I love this edition, man. It really forced me to use my fucking noggin. But man, when I really finally pieced the clues that they were giving me together, man, it came together beautifully, man. So whole time, man, I'm forgetting his name. Marshall, all time Marshall, he just wanted justice for his brother because he knew his brother wasn't killed by the serial killer. He knew something else happened. It was a cover up. Something real shady happened. So it's this thing. Not only are the higher ups involved, it runs way back. Like I said, Damon Gant's name is too much all over this case for him to not be the one behind all this. But yeah, Gant is definitely the one that's causing all these issues, man. But I cannot wait to see how this episode concludes. But that'll be for another video. So if you watched this far, that means you've liked the video. So like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you all again next time, man. Thank you.